Hello, everyone. If you are watching me live, make sure you comment, say hello. How's everyone doing? Um, let's see if this is working. Check on my phone and see. Yes. Okay. I can see myself on my phone. So, good evening. It is 8 Eastern Standard Time, probably like 5 in California. I hope this is a better time so people can watch. If not, we'll try to figure something out and see if. Hello, yes. Okay, cool. You can hear me, you can see me. Awesome. So, what are we going to talk about today? I'm going to give a little bit, like a couple minutes for people to trickle in. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Nancy. How are you? So good to have you. So, I know I have some questions that people asked me beforehand that we're going to talk through as well. But before I answer those questions, I want to give people some time to trickle in and you all. So, how is your day going? It's almost Friday. How are you all feeling? How are your applications going? Tell me where you're at. Where and what programs are you applying to? If you could drop them in the comments, that would be amazing. So I have an idea of where you're at, where you're applying, and what else you need to get done. So wait a couple more minutes for people to arrive and have some space to chat about what we're going to chat about. So I'm just seeing if there are any questions from other people that maybe they couldn't make it. Okay, so what are we going to chat about today? So we're going to talk about personal statements. Personal statements seem to be something that creates a lot of stress, and people feel that they are stuck or feel some sort of kind of imposter syndrome. Let's see, applying to CSNU. I'm almost finished with Portly Kids and I got COVID. Oh my God, I hope you're doing okay. Yes, that definitely puts you behind because you are sick and you have to manage that. I'm so sorry. I hope you all are doing better and you're staying safe and you are able to get back on it soon. Wow, that's tough. I'm so sorry. Um, so if you're already applying to a grad program, you might already have done research into what is a personal statement. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about what it is. I'm going to talk a little bit more about, okay, how do we write it? What do we say? How do we connect the dots? And then ask questions. So the personal statement essentially is for you to let them know who you are as a person and tie that into your experiences, your expertise, and what are your research interests. What do you hope to get out of this kind of graduate degree, and why you are spending time applying for this, and how is it going to connect to your career trajectory and what you want in your life. So that's basically the personal statement. So, how do we write that? The first thing is I would suggest doing a brain dump and putting everything on paper, whatever you can think of. It doesn't have to have any format, any grammar perfection, nothing. It's just a brain dump. Get everything out of your head, everything that you think you want to write about, whatever that is. I think that's a good place to start. And once you have that, you can then start to figure out, okay, where do I go from here? What do I do next? What can I include and what can I take out? So that I think that's kind of the first step is once you've decided you're going to apply, once you know that you have to write a personal statement, all right, let's do a brain dump. That's, I think, the easiest process. So after that, what are you gonna then decide to write about? So one of the questions I got online is, should I use COVID as part of your application process in terms of the personal statement? So the short answer is no. I would not advise to do that. I know that certain families in certain situations are more difficult than others in this pandemic, in this situation. However, I do not advise using that as an example or as a experience on your personal statement. Why? Number one, because we are still in the pandemic and we are all still going through it. So we really don't know what are the long lasting effects that it has on us. Number two, this is something that a lot of people are going to think that they should write about because it's what they're experiencing in this moment. However, like I said, we don't know what we're learning from it as of yet, and we don't know the long-term effects as of yet. We can have a prediction as to what that long-term effect is in our lives. However, we're still living it right now. So I don't think that's a strong personal statement topic. So, and also a lot of admissions counselors have written blog posts about telling people to not write about COVID. So I take the direction of admissions counselors, PhD professors, and faculty and staff from admissions departments, and my colleagues in higher education. So in our conversations, we've talked about this and we've said a lot of people are struggling with obviously the pandemic and what's going on, maybe financially, emotionally, psychologically, and physically, right? However, like I said, we're still in it and we're all experiencing it at different levels. So that might be a topic that a lot of people are going to write about, and it's not going to set you apart in the process. So, another goal of the personal statement is to set you apart from the other candidates. Why are you the ideal candidate for this position or this degree program? So, and I say position because you are taking a spot in a graduate school class. So some programs only accept 10 students, 15 students, 20, 30. It's a small cohort, right? And they're reading thousands of applications. So it's important that you stand out in that application cycle. So I would recommend finding something in your lived experiences pre-COVID that really informed who you are as a person. What skills did you build? What resiliency factors can you bring to the table? How did it help your communication skills, your personal development? Anything along those lines that help you grow your skill set is something that I would recommend. So in the conversation with the person who asked me about COVID as writing for their application personal statement, they talked about study abroad and how maybe working and studying abroad for an internship really helped them navigate the work environment, learn new skills, interpersonal, cross-cultural communication skills, and if that should be a topic. And my answer is yes. That is something that you should write about, right? If you had the opportunity to study abroad and learn new language, new skills, cross-cultural engagement, that is something you can write about in your personal statement. If you moved cross country, that experience is something you can write about in your personal statement. If you had something in your work experience, a group project, a group initiative that you took the lead on, that's something you should write about in your personal statement. And on top of that, your personal statement should not leave the reader with the question, so what? So when they're reading it, when they're reading your personal statement, at the end of it, they really shouldn't say, so what? That answer should, that question should be answered in your personal statement. It should say, so what? And then you answered it through the process of writing. So at the end of it, they're like, oh, I get who you are, what your skills are, what are you going to bring to the table, and what you're all about. That's what the personal statement is. And then number two, the second question I got offline before this live is how much of your personal life should you add to your personal statement? How deep or how personal um, should you add? So this question is very dependent upon you as the writer. How much are you willing to share with an admissions committee? Because numerous people are going to read it, not just one. Maybe 5 to 10 people are going to read it, whoever's on the committee. So it has to be something that you are comfortable with sharing with these individuals. It's all confidential information, so it's not like they're going to go share it on social media or share it or email it to someone, right? It's going to be held in confidentiality within the graduate school admissions process. And higher education professionals take that very, very seriously because it's part of a hiring process almost. So you have to keep that in mind when you're writing too, is that yes, maybe strangers are reading it, however, they're holding it in high regard and confidentiality. So this question is really contingent upon how much you feel comfortable with writing. So if you want to write about study abroad, or a particular experience in study abroad, go for it. If you want to talk about your familial relationships or something that's going on in your family or happened or something in that experience, go for it. If you want to write about if you're an immigrant, your immigration story, you can write about that. It's really up to you as the writer and the student how much you're willing to disclose and how much you're willing to share with the committee. So, and on top of that, you have to make sure that it matches what your program is, what skills you're bringing to that program, and what you hope to gain out of going through that program. Does that make sense? So let's say this is it's like a triangle. So your experience, who you are, is at the top, right? And then you have the degrees that you're wanting or getting, and then all these experiences are kind of the two sides that are going to bring up to who you are. So, what you've already done and what you're about to do with the program. So, all of these are going to come together and create your personal statement. So, who you are, what your experiences have been, and what this program is going to do to create your personal statement and who you want to be as that individual coming out of that program, right? So, it's kind of using yourself now and your past experiences kind of projecting to what you want out of the program to create a future you, if that makes sense. So I know I talked a lot about a lot of things in the last 10 minutes. So if you, oh, I see the comments now. Sorry. We are good, thank you. Good to know. I'm happy you're fine. Um, Having a good day applying to MSW program at Chico State and counseling program at Humboldt. Okay, cool. So MSW, right? Master's in Social Work. So if you're thinking about a master's in social work, how are you going to be a community member? How are you going to be a community advocate? How is your past experience helping you with those skills to be successful in this program? And then what do you hope an NMSW program is going to give you to enhance your expertise and your experiences? So that's kind of the personal statement that you should be crafting, right? And then are there any questions based on what I've already chatted about for those of you who are on this live? And if you're catching the replay, make sure you drop your comments in the comment section and I will respond either writing or I'll respond individually or maybe do another live to tackle those questions. So if you're catching the replay, don't worry about it. You can still ask me your questions. Um, so let me look at my notes to make sure I have everything. So I wanted to say the goal of your personal statement is to get to know you as a person in relation to the work you are going to do. So I'll say it again. The personal statement, the goal of it is to get to know you as the person in relation to the work or the graduate program you are going to do or work through. So it's in relation to both. How are you going to show up based on your past experiences? And like I said, you can choose how personal and how deep you want to talk about in your personal statement. This is really for you to explain who you are as an individual. And then another thing I wanted to bring up is that you can, in your graduate school application process, there should be a section that says, explain extenuating circumstances. So let's say something happened in your life in undergrad, for example, if you got a poor grade one semester or two semesters, something happened, someone passed away, or you lost your job, or you had to take a semester off, or whatever happened in your life, and it's on your transcript and reflecting your overall GPA, and maybe it's not the best as you want it to be, you can explain that there in that section. If you don't feel like you want to talk about it in your personal statement because you want to talk about your strengths in your personal statement, that is where you would explain what happened. Because if a graduate admissions person is reading and they're like, oh, what happened this semester, and then you never talk about it, they're going to be curious. And if they don't have an interview process, they might either ask you, or if they don't have enough information, they might table your application. So you have to give them all the information up front. Don't make them look for it. Don't make them go find it. This a strategy is to keep in mind is you are looking to facilitate the admissions counselors to learn about who you are as a candidate. So, and as a person, obviously. So that's one tip that I would recommend is if you have the place to say extenuating circumstances, that is where I would put maybe a low grade, a low semester, or whatever. Life happens, and graduate assistants, graduate admissions counselors and faculty know that. We have to keep in mind that these people are individuals. They're professionals. Yes, they have their PhD maybe, but we have to bring them from the ivory tower down to our own understanding. They are individuals too, and humans, and they've been through this experience as well. So we have to remind ourselves that you can do this, you can write it, you can apply, you can go, you have the skills, you have the expertise. So if you're working through some imposter syndrome, make sure that you keep that in mind. Bring these people down from the ivory tower. I know they like to chill up there, but bring them down and ground yourself in the idea that you have the experience, you have the expertise, you have the motivation to even start the application process, and you have every right to be there. So make sure you keep that in mind when you're writing your personal statement and your application process. If you feel like you maybe don't have a high GPA, or a lot of people, there's more people applying, or there's quote unquote more experienced people doing it, um, let's focus on what you bring to the table, because you bring enough and you are enough. So that's something I want to talk about too, is some people are processing how they're feeling like an imposter that when they're applying. And I know we talked a lot about this in the graduate school seminar. So I just want to bring that up again. So those are kind of the three things that I wanted to chat about, because I think they're the most important things when it comes to personal statements. Um, Anyone watching have any other questions, any follow-up questions, any other thoughts? I know I just talked a lot, so I'll give you guys a couple of moments to kind of let me know. And I'm gonna check here if anyone is sending me a message with a question, just to make sure that I have it. Let me see. So let me see. Nope, no questions ever here. Okay, the programs that I'm applying to ask specific questions. For example, what type of clients would be the most difficult to work with and why? Would you recommend I give a specific detailed type of person, or should I give more of a broad answer? So that's very contingent upon your MSW program, right? Because they want to see how you would work with different types of individuals from different backgrounds. So, would you recommend? So, type of clients is maybe giving an example of certain group of individuals, so one or two or three or four type of clients that um, would be a good way to look at it, because a type of person is a type of client, right? So I think you can do a specific detailed type of person. And depending on your word count, you can do one or two or three, even. I don't know. It depends on how many words you have. But yeah, definitely a type of person. I think the more specific you are and why, the better. One thing I have struggled with is my personal statements sound professional. Is making my personal statement sound professional. I am thankful I have had people who are good at writing help me a little bit. How else can someone get this support if they don't have people around them to help them? So, what do you mean sound more professional? Because I think sometimes when we're writing, we think that our writing is not professional when in fact it is. So, what do you think about your essay doesn't sound professional? Is my first question. And then my second thing is you can make it more professional by adding transitional sentences, transitional words or phrases, and making sure you have a tight introduction and a tight conclusion. So that is something that kind of wraps it into a nice little bow that makes it professional. So I would really explore what you mean by that. Is it like jargon words that you think you need to add, or what do you think doesn't make it sound professional? Um, because we also don't want to add a lot of jargon. We want it to be clear and concise and crisp. Help who are good at writing help me a little bit more. So I would encourage you to connect with people in the group. If you want to do like a writing uh, chat with someone, I'm sure there's someone in the group that would like to team up with you. You all can do like a exchange of personal statements and help each other out. Or I also offer personal statement strategy sessions. So if you want to work with me closely about it, we can sit down and do that. And I was also thinking of doing a personal statement writing workshop. So if that's something you all would be interested in, let me know in the comments and I can set that up and pick a time and a date, and we can work something out within our group, and share with people, whoever wants to do that. So let me know if any of those options would work. The third one would be, like I said, find someone in this group and you guys can exchange personal statements and help each other out. I think that would be a neat opportunity. But if you want more crystallized one-on-one attention, I offer strategy sessions, or we can do like a group strategy workshop coaching type of thing. I have been told I sometimes write like I'm speaking, if that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's okay. We all write like we speak. And then in the editing process is where you kind of tweak that. And I'm sure you're not as unprofessional as you think. Um, so we can definitely, if we do the workshop or work together or something, we can probably tweak that. But I would recommend I'll share in the group the transitional sentence phrases and words that use with students, and maybe that can help you kind of do it on your own. Um, as a resource, I can do that for sure. So, great questions. Good question, everyone. Are there more questions? I'm going to stay for like 5 more minutes. And then if you want to let me know about the group workshop or the one-on-one strategy sessions, we can do that together. Um, let me know what you need. Um, so um, those are kind of the things that I saw a lot of comments from people in other groups and on social media asking questions about the personal statement. So that's why I wanted to hop on and make sure that you all were feeling supported in that, because I know deadlines are coming up. And if you know your deadline, if you can drop it in the comments so I can also kind of be aware to set up. Okay, cool. All right, Nancy, I will, if I hope I said your name right. Nancy? I hope so. Um, okay, I'll send you a message, or if you want to give me your email, I can send you an email and we can chat about that. No problem. Cool. So I don't know, I can't see who is online. It only tells me how many people, but not the names. So I saw Brenda was commenting. Do you feel supported with your answer? I mean, with your question. Do you have any follow-up questions? Nancy, yes. Okay. Stay a little bit, 5 more minutes, and then I will I will hop off, and then I will share the resource that I said I would share. So stay tuned for that because I have to find it. That would be great. I feel like I have trouble making a cohesive response to my questions in terms of having an intro paragraph and transitioning into the body paragraph. Yeah, those are usually the hardest parts about writing a personal statement or an essay. So I will share that with you because it's like a little table with examples. So it's really easy to follow and hopefully really helpful. Okay, cool. I'll share that with you. And I'm trying to think of anything about the MSW program. So, like, if you're thinking, if anyone else is listening and is doing an MSW or a counseling kind of program, is to think about the goal is to showcase how you are a community activist, a community organizer, and a community support, right? So, master's in social work is based in sociology, right? So, it's a macro level understanding. And if it's a counseling, it's more individual. So, how are you connecting to the individual and the student and the person and the client, right? And the MSW is more macro level community focused. So, those are kind of the two distinctions. And there's two different ways to go about the practice as counseling and as MSW. So I would also spend time on the websites and read how they describe their programs. Do some research, do some digging. How do they describe their programs? How do they do their how do they describe the department? How do they describe the research? And look at buzzwords, see what you find in there, and you can implement that into your personal statement as well. And that goes for any program, not just MSW or counseling. That goes for biology, medicine, um, a language, any tech programs, computer science, is looking at the website to see how do they describe their program. And they will tell you how they want you to talk about it. So make sure you do some digging, do some research, spend some time on their website and figure out how do they write about it? What is their style of writing? Is kind of like a good strategy as well. All right, cool. So if there are no more questions, I will hop off and go find that resource for you, share it on in the group. And of course, if you have any follow-up questions, reach out to me and let me know if you need any other support, one-on-one advising or coaching, or we can do like a group uh, personal statement workshop, maybe, if that's something people want. So sounds good. I really hope this was helpful. And if you're catching the replay, make sure you leave your questions. I will get to them. And if you also have any follow-up thoughts or questions, let me know. And I hope you all are staying safe and warm. It is cold in Pennsylvania, my friends. It snowed yesterday. So stay warm, stay safe. If you're in California or Florida or somewhere warm, send me some sunshine, please. So those are kind of my thoughts. Any other questions? Any other thoughts? Cool. Oh, one last thing. I totally forgot. Next week, I'm launching a podcast. So, which will have motivation, inspiration, and also some tips. So stay tuned. I will share that in the group too. So you guys can have first dibs on listening. So thank you all for your support and your I hope this was helpful. Have a great evening.